Now I'm going to start building assets, what we're just going to call assets, to embed in my template file that we can use on lots of different projects. And I want to create a template for schematic design. So very early stages of design, conceptual design. And so I don't want a lot of detail in it. So at the early stages of a project, I don't want to make a lot of decisions about the final construction and everything. I'm just working on the overall spatial arrangements and volume and mass of the building and those things. Now, so I'm going to create some wall objects. I'm going to go here to the wall tool, and you'll see that I've got two wall types, as we noticed before. We purged the rest of them, and I'm going to pick edit type here. Now, wall is a built-in family or a system family. That means it does not exist as a separate file. It exists only within the Revit project. But I'm going to create a new wall here, and I'm going to click duplicate. And I'm going to call this wall XW for crossways. And I'm going to call it EX for exterior. And I'm going to call it 4 inches. And that's the thickness of the wall. So this is going to be a very basic wall. So I'll click OK. Now you'll notice that the type changed to XWEX 4 inches, and the function here is exterior. If we look at this function, we can see that there are a lot of different parameter values for function: interior, exterior, foundation, retaining, soffit, and core shaft. This is really a fundamental basic distinction in architecture of what a wall could possibly be for. It could be exterior, it could be interior, it could be foundation, and so on. So, so it's good practice to define that. You know what it is. You're the architect. You make that decision. You define it. Now, typically, those different functions are going to be supported by different constructions. So an interior wall probably has gypsum board on both sides. An exterior wall does not have gypsum board on the outside. That would be probably a problem. So, so the construction is really specific to that function. So I've set the function. Now I'm going to go to structure here, which is where we define the construction of the wall. And I'm going to click on preview so we can see what it looks like. So this is a it's left over from our previous wall, and it's got metal studs here on the inside. It's got plywood. It's got common brick on the outside. I don't want these in this case. I just want a 4-inch generic wall that really has no, I haven't decided on the layering and construction of it. And right now it's the previous metal stud wall with brick finish. And I'm going to simply delete these different layers. You see the drawing over here becomes simpler. I'll delete the substrate. And then I'll delete the interior membrane too. And the material here for the structure of it, I'm going to change to simply default material. Not very interesting, but default material. And I'm going to set the thickness to be 4 inches. And I will tell it OK. And now I've created a 4-inch wall. Now I could duplicate that and make another wall, this time, let's say an 8-inch thick wall. And I'll change the structure of it to be 8 inches. I'm going to keep the function as exterior. Because that's an important distinction for me. Then finally, I'm going to make one more wall. I'll duplicate it, and I'll make a 12-inch thick wall, and tell it OK, and pick the structure, and change it to 12 inches. Okay, so I've got 3 new walls that I've created, kind of abstract walls for sketching and conceptual design. Now, I could keep going with this. You know, I could change this 12-inch and make an interior 12-inch wall. I'll change the name just so that I'll remember that it's interior. And I'll keep it 12 inches thick. That's just the name right now to tell me that it's nominally 12 inches thick. But this time I'm going to change the function to interior. And now I've got several new walls in this XW naming convention. The XW naming convention lets me identify that wall really quickly and easily, find it very quickly and easily, and I know it's one of my project walls. Now, I can keep going with that. I'll quickly make a couple more walls. I'll make a 4-inch interior wall. I'll change the name so I remember that it's an interior wall. I know that it's an interior wall. And I'll change the function over here to be interior. And I will also get a 8-inch wall, edit the type, duplicate it, change it to be interior. And change the function of it to be interior. You know, as a way of creating a kit, a drawing kit for doing conceptual design for the Crossways project, I now have several different wall types that I can use to start sketching out, and I can define to the computer, these are exterior walls, these are interior walls, this is maybe a plumbing wall, it's thicker than the other ones, and so on.